And without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. That he rewards those who earnestly seek him. Right now, you might be wondering, did you get the wrong video? Because this one says 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 3. And we will go there. But right now, I felt led to start with Hebrews 11 and verse 6 for a reason. In order to please God, it says that we must believe that he keeps his promises and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. And I've got to confess, I haven't been believing this. Now, that doesn't mean I'm questioning my salvation. Jesus turned to his apostles and said, "Oh, ye of little faith." And to the one who he gave the greatest charge, he said, "I'm praying that your faith would fail not," knowing that his faith, Peter's faith, would be severely tested. All of us are weak in faith. And at different times in our lives, we are weaker, and this weakness is manifested in different ways. And it is God's project in us to strengthen our faith. As Jesus said, "I've prayed to the Father that your faith fail not." God is working in our lives to build faith. But the way that he does that is by bringing us to the depths of our not having faith, so that we recognize to what point we are not trusting God, that we are not having faith. I set out on this series of devotions in 2 Corinthians. Did I say 1 Corinthians a few minutes ago? Whatever. I set out on this nearly 5 years ago. And as you'll see in tomorrow's devotion, that went on hold because I spent 4 years in a very severe test of my faith, a test that is not yet complete. There's still a lot of difficulty. But a few months back, I felt that it was time to resume, and I made a lesson on 2 Corinthians 1, verses 3 and 4. But revisiting that, which you'll see tomorrow, I realized that I should do a separate one on verse 3. And in preparing for that, God kind of cross-referenced me to Hebrews. So let's go now to 2 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 3. Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort. There are times in our lives where we do not feel any comfort. We don't feel any compassion. Now, I'm not talking about the compassion we feel for others. I'm talking about being on the receiving end. So here is Paul saying, praise be to God, praise be to Jesus, praise be to God, the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. Praise be to the Father through Jesus Christ, the Father of Jesus Christ, who is the Father of compassion and the Father of all comfort. When everything that was dear to me was taken away from me, I did not feel any comfort. How could God be the God of all comfort? How could he be the God of compassion? How could he be the God of all comfort when I was not being comforted? How could he be the God of all compassion when he was not doing anything, it seemed to me, to alleviate the intense, devastating loss that I was undergoing and the intense, devastating loss that was being inflicted on someone who is the most dear to me? God of compassion? The words that come to mind are you kidding me? And that's how I felt. And that's how you feel sometimes. And you can't say it in church, can you? Good morning. How are you today? Oh, I'm doing fine. Well, my life. Oh, well, I'll pray for you. Try that 7 times in a row. You know, sometimes in life you just have to move on. That's translated, I don't want to hear about your trouble in the foyer at church anymore. Now, if the thing that is devastating you is cancer, it's okay. That's the rule. Some other diseases count. Christians aren't allowed to have family problems. Christians aren't allowed to have personal problems. Okay, I don't want to get bitter about people. God's bringing me out of that. But I'm mentioning this because you might be in that spot where you're not getting comfort from God that you can see, and you're not getting comfort from God's people. And I want to help you here. And I'm going to help you by being tough. This is not the tough that says, get over it. This is the tough that says, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. For God to work you through this, it's going to be a painful surgery. Someone close to me recently had to go through 2 painful surgeries. It was not pleasant. Not having those surgeries in the long run would have been even less pleasant. Surgery is not pleasant, and this is God's surgery in our lives. But through that, here I was looking at Hebrews over and over again, one of my favorite passages, and it says that to please God, we must believe that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him, and here I am diligently seeking him. Where's God? God put me through that, and God puts you through that. God puts us through that so that we will come to believe it. What? Because when we get to the bottom of this, when we go through this long enough, we finally start to see. We finally get all of the clouds that hinder our vision cleared away, and we see that through it all, God is indeed the Father of compassion, and that he is indeed the God of all comfort. And that to receive this comfort, we've got to change, but that's not a matter of, hey, you just got to change. That's a matter of God saying, you have to change. You can't change. And I'm going to change you. I mentioned a surgery, and I know we're over time. But let me share this with you. best orthopedic surgeon in the parish, in the city, looked at the x-rays and said, I can't do that. I can't fix that. Some people are very incensed that he said that. I think he's a wise man. So he sent to someone else. Long journey in an ambulance. And the surgeon there looked me in the eye and said, it's not a problem. He was right to send this case here. Don't worry. I fix this kind of thing every day. I can fix this. It's not a problem. I do this kind of work every day. You're in the right place. And that's what God is saying here. You can't fix this. You've come to the right place. Don't worry about it. I can fix this.